Oh, you've just got to turn your camera on.
Bear with me. Bear with me. There we go.
Whoa, get a shave.
I'll lend you some, Richard.
So, what do you mean by that? I'm all right, me. Don't worry about me. So,
Martin,
Martin,
what's up, mate?
I'm all right. How are you, Anthony? You good?
Oh, good, thank you, mate. Oh, good.
How's lockdown treating you?
It's a bit testing, like everyone. But I keep saying we've been lucky towards most, haven't we? But like my partner, she works still, so it's me at home most of the day. But to be honest, that night I started getting out, doing a bit of exercise. I'll do it again later. That's it though, mate. But listen, you got to be thankful. You a lot of time at home with a little lad that I wouldn't normally get. So you got to be thankful, isn't it, mate?
I agree completely. Are you homeschooling?
Yeah, I'm not doing too well at it. I think my partner, she'd say the same. She'd if we're not doing too much work with him, but he's getting plenty of time outside and that otherwise. But he might be back in school in 2 weeks. 2 weeks, he might be back in school.
no, I've heard it's October now.
Don't Rich.
Really? Jesus.
I'm on it.
Jeez.
I told you, didn't I, Johnny?
Cheers.
Everyone was calling Boris the other day when he said year ones might be back in 3 weeks. They broke down in tears of joy. Honestly, God.
So then,
yeah.
Mr. Theobold, I've just been explaining to Johnny and Anthony that you became one of the most famous boxing fans thanks to Eddie Hearn, didn't you? When he outed you as living in your mum's back bedroom and sleeping under a Transformers quilt.
I was best man for my best mate last year. He bought me that as a gift.
What did it feel like when he did that, Mark? How did you feel?
Do you know what? It's quite funny, really, because I can't remember the exact terms, but I think Virgin probably came into it. Get a woman out and meet people, and I was so hungover that day, going out for dinner with my family, my 4 kids and my wife, and I get all these messages from people saying, "Have you seen what Eddie said about you?" So I'm sat in a restaurant with my kids and my family, hearing that I'm a virgin that needs to go out and drink. And I'm so hungover.
So how did yours and his relationship get to that point then? What happened?
So I think it's probably fair to say I like to try and hold some of the decision making of Matchroom and others. You know, I've had.
I've lost you.
No.
We've lost you. We've lost him.
Come back.
Come back, we were just getting good.
Nah, he's gone, Anna.
I don't think so, no. It says still live on mine.
You can't see him though, can you?
Yeah,
It's just froze. Froze on mine. Can you not see him at all, Johnny?
It froze on mine.
Come on, Theobold.
Is that any better?
Yeah, that's it. So
You
like to hold them to account. Go on.
I'd like to hold them to account and ask questions of, are boxing fans getting value for money out of the sport, the product? And I know, Anthony has previously cited the Barry from Barnsley types, of which I'm sure I'd fall into that bracket. Martin.
No, there's a face behind you, mate. There's a face behind you. I know you're a real person.
You don't sound from Barnsley anyway.
But to an extent, look, I agree with Anthony to the point of, if a boxing fan like me were to sit at home saying you ought to throw the jab more or whatever, I ain't got a clue. It's not my role to be doing that. Would I say that, I favoured Lomachenko to beat Anthony in that fight? Yeah, I did. As
You
did...
bastard.
You bastard.
You bastard.
Really?
What a shit house. Cut him off.
Cut him off the shit house. Off.
But
No, mine. But that was the thing. Was like, I'm not one of those. When sometimes like some boxers will go, "Oh, how many fights have you had?" I don't think that, because I think the fans, they pay a lot of fighters' wages. They're entitled to their opinions, but it's just got to be it's just got to have like, it's got to be like an opinion what makes a little bit of sense, like, or what I think with me when I was the Barry from Barnsley shout, it was like, I'm not asked him if he thinks I'm going to get smashed. Like 99% of the boxing public probably thought that, but it's just that, you know, he'd be so vocal about it. But he's entitled to do that, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
Well, it's that fine line in it between criticising a fight or giving your opinion on a fighter or a fight.
Yeah.
Torturing at life fighter and personally in it.
It's about constructive criticism.
Yeah.
If it's constructive, all right, give it. But if it's just like a knee jerk, I don't like him because
exactly.
And that's bullshit.
Yeah.
So as a boxing fan, then, Mark, what is it that gets you so frustrated? Now's your time to shine. What gets you?
Get off your chest.
How long we got?
Come on, just let it.
Right. My number one critic or critique.
Oh, there's a list. There's a list. Number one.
But I mean, look, we got Anthony on, who's been a matchroom fighter for years. May or may not have benefited from the Stub-Hub relationship. I don't know, directly or indirectly. That to me has been a farce for years. I may be wrong. The way that fans are treated in that respect is pretty disgusting, in that you can have an Anthony Joshua at his peak selling 80,000 tickets within 10 minutes, of which, there's a commercial relationship between promoter and ticket distributor. Those same tickets are then for sale 5 times face value 15 minutes later. That to me is disrespectful to the fans, that there isn't any effort or attempt made to make the fans, the proper fan, not the scalping fan, make their life better. If you want to get those people through the door, and they do get through the door at a huge expense to themselves. We're now looking at events that are going to be behind closed doors, and suddenly you realise those fans are massively important, not just for revenue streams, but for atmosphere. Things like that. I hope out of this COVID-19 situation, maybe there is a change of perspective in those scenarios where actually the fans are kind of put as more of a priority, perhaps.
Yeah, look, a lot of people question Stub-Hub stuff, haven't they? And we spoke about it before, that a ticket's released at 100 quid, and then you try and get one 5 minutes later, and it's 600 quid. It's not nice for people who are saving to try and buy them, or young kids trying to get into the sport.
Can I ask you something? What do you think of pay-per-view?
I don't have an issue with it if you're going to tell me Fury Wilder's going to go on pay-per-view. If Fury Joshua ever got made, put it on pay-per-view. I do have an issue with it for White Povetkin.
Really?
So do you understand the process of why there is pay-per-view?
Yeah, 100%. Look, I understand the promoter's argument that, look, these fights don't get made without the additional revenue of pay-per-view.
Yeah.
I understand that. Now, that's a fighter-driven scenario. So actually, if that pay-per-view didn't exist for that fight, what other fight is a fighter going to take? And I only use White Povetkin as an example. I could give you others. Those fighters will still want to fight and earn their living through the sport.
Yeah,
so their market value is inflated because of pay-per-view. It isn't.
Well, let me give you this scenario then. If White Povetkin were fighting each other, and they had an inkling, or they decided to gamble on the fact that we want to go pay-per-view, we might get paid millions, because we think there's enough people out there that will pay to watch us, pay a little more to watch us, or should we play it safe and get paid hundreds of thousands because we're guaranteed this? Because they're not guaranteed it. And when the pay-per-view's out, they get a percentage of what the purse is. They don't get millions and millions. They get a percentage of the purse. So, and the reason why I bring this up is because I love the fact that fighters are making dough. I love it. I love the fight. So if they're in a position to make dough, I'd say do it. Now, and if you're watching pay-per-view and it's Joe Blogs v Jenny Blogs, you're not going to pay pay-per-view for that, so you just wouldn't pay. So that's why, and I think when these pay-per-view events on, the TV companies such as Sky, such as whoever, they take this into consideration. So they'll say, you know what, we'll only put 4 or 5 pay-per-views on this year because it's saturating the market. It's not fair on the paying public, the paying fans. So we've got to put our foot down and say, look, there's going to be 4 or 5 pay-per-views and that's it. If you want to fight, you're going to be on pay-per-view on our platform, not this year. And so do you understand? Do you get now why sometimes it might be a show that you don't want to watch or pay for? You think it's not worth that. If they think it'll sell, they'll put it on and sell.
I get that completely, and don't conflate the argument of I wouldn't necessarily pay for it with me begrudging the fact they're earning money, because brilliant, good on them. I hope they earn enough that they can retire, and live a brilliant life after it. But it's opportunistic. And that's on the promoter's behalf for me, rather than it being on the fighter's behalf. The fighter's behalf, they have every right to go out and do it. And actually, as a fan, okay, if you're going to do pay-per-view, cool. Go ahead and do those pay-per-views. But offer me something on my standard Sky subscription of a decent standard that I'm at least getting something without having to pay the additional on top of my 40 quid per month.
Mm-hmm. I think so you're saying a few fans say, and we spoke about it before. Listen, I won't mind a pay-per-view every other month if it really, or every month if it were a big show and fights I wanted to see and it was stacked. But it's if you're only then getting like one or two other shows on normal Sky that aren't paid, and then you're paying, then that's where a lot of fans' argument comes from, isn't it?
Yeah, and you want your standard Friday, Saturday night, show Saturday fight night. You want that to be of better quality, I'm guessing, Martin, as well.
Yeah, absolutely. If you give me, you go back to Smith, Eggington, Fitzgerald, Fowler. I'm cool with that. Like, I don't need world title fights. I want competitive domestic
clashes. Good domestic clashes you're happy with, right?
Yeah, to build that schedule between the pay-per-views. I'd be happy with that.
I get that.
Even the, the next-gen cards with some of the decent, where you had Craig Richards was due to fight on one, wasn't he? And then that kind of all fell apart. Reactpour, where he's been fighting on them for the British, those kind of events. If that's filling the schedule between pay-per-views, I'm okay with it. But if you're going to give me, Kell Brook versus, I can't remember who the guy was that he fought last. It doesn't do anything for me. Seeing some WBA international title being fought for, with somebody who's overmatched.
So what's your feeling on the likelihood of Anthony Joshua fighting Tyson Fury in Saudi Arabia or China?
Well, it depends if your friend Johnny is gonna, you must have the inside knowledge now, don't you?
No. What I'm saying is, would you, as a fan, do you understand why it would be somewhere like that? Do you understand it being in such a country like, instead of being here in the UK? Do you
of course. And Joshua Ruiz, look, in the rematch for that, I would have loved to have been at Wembley Stadium, but Hearn's got a job to earn the most money for his fighter. And if that money comes from Saudi Arabia, if it comes from Kuwait, if it comes from Timbuktu, then I appreciate he's got the job to maximise the revenue for the fighter. I've no issue with that particularly. Go ahead and make it out there, especially in these circumstances where fights are going to be behind closed doors for the foreseeable. Then you may as well do it in a place where nobody would turn up anyway.
What do you reckon that pay-per-view would be, Johnny? And what do you reckon that pay-per-view, if they make it, is? I reckon it's at least 50 quid in Britain.
Yeah, I was going to say 50 quid as well. I was going to say 50 quid. I think it's definitely not 20 quid, or is it?
50 quid?
I'm going 30 quid.
50 quid, I'm saying. Martin, what would you say if it were 50 quid? Would you rip up your Transformers duvet? What would you do?
I would begrudge it. Begrudge it.
Would you pay it?
You'd pay it though, wouldn't you?
If you said it's 100% more than any other pay-per-view's been, that's a piss take.
Yeah.
Would be my view.
Pay it? Or would you pay it?
You'd pay it, wouldn't you, Martin?
I'd go down the pub.
Right,
I was down the pub for the Ruiz second fight. I'd probably do the same for that, I think. Because also, if it's Saudi Arabia, it's a decent hour. I'm all right with that.
True.
It's not New York. I've got to stay up until 4 in the morning.
See, I thought you would have been happy paying 50 quid for that, Martin. I didn't think you'd have bolted at that.
No, that's excessive to me. I think.
What if it's got a strong undercard?
Define strong.
Few world title fights. What did you say?
Delbrook and the account, chief support.
Pay that, yeah.
Yeah, look, if you give me Frochgroves free, Khan, Brook, Joshua Fury, I might chip in 50 quid. But 50 quid for that fight alone, no, I think that would be excessive.
Really? See, I don't. I'll be honest, I don't. If you could get the two biggest heavyweights in the world to fight, if you look back now, I said, like, and we spoke, it was great, weren't it? And we spoke to Don Majeski the other day, who attended Frazier against Ali, won at Madison Square Garden, stuff like that. You could be talking about how that fight's looked on historically in the same breath. So it's 50 quid out of way. When you think if you take your kids to Starbucks for a slice of flapjack and a hot chocolate, you've done 30 quid. And if you've got 4 of them, I don't think it's that out of way for a one-off event.
I don't, but you would need to scale up the pricing mechanism before that. So you would need to put on a couple of other pay-per-views at 30 and 35 quid to make 50 quid acceptable.
I don't know, mate. I don't really agree with you there, Martin, because you do that, if you start going from 30, 35 to like people. I think that's sort of, everyone knows that's the biggest fight on the planet right now, isn't it? Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua. So I think if you start trying to justify it by creeping other shows up for 30, 35 quid, there'd have to be some shows to put on. There's not, listen, you're a boxing fan, but obviously you've got to admit, like, to the box office, you want to appeal to the sporting fan. There's very few sporting fans who are going to pay 30, 35 quid for a great card, is there? There's not, is there? Do you know what I mean?
No.
I think you're cheating in it if you let the price creep up, because then if you do that, you'll have Dillian White going, just using him as name as example, or Dillian White, or Callum Smith, or whoever going, well, I don't want to do a 20 quid pay-per-view. I want to do a 35 pay-per-view.
But it creeped up last year, didn't it? Went to 25 quid, was it?
Yeah, I think this is a one-off fee of 50 quid. I think that's what they do. I don't see how you let other shows creep up for more money than that.
Yeah.
I think it would be a hard sell. Would be my point. If you said the highest is $1 million for Klitschko Joshua, was it $1 million? They reckoned
about 1.1-ish. Yeah.
What would that have been? 20 quid. You can't justify it to me. You can't justify it to me that it's 2.5 times bigger than that. And that'd be the metric that I'd go by with it.
It is, but now in this business and the space and where it is built up, I think it is.
I think I'm with you as well.
And will it happen though?
That's the question, isn't it? Will it happen next? None of us seem to think it'll happen next, but there's a lot of talk about it, isn't there? But whether it happens next or not, if it does happen next, it looks very unlikely to be the UK anyway, but it almost certainly won't be in the UK if it happens next.
I think I heard somewhere today that Wilder's it won't be next, because Wilder's saying, I'm sure Wilder. I've just read somewhere, and Wilder's saying that he's not going to step aside.
Yeah,
why would he?
Last week he won't money, and Wilder said I won't. But listen, if they offer him $10 or $15 million each, the only certainty is they will.
To be fair, Tyson Fury on Mark Wright's Instagram live workout this morning, he said that
what did you just say?
I know.
Mate, it was in it. I'm just going, what happened, mate? I'm just
you did
Mark Wright's Instagram live workout. Was it yesterday? Tyson Fury said, I won't give him 2 million. I'd rather punch his head in again. That was his talk. Whether it's just talk or not, I don't know.
Nice.
But I'm not convinced there's going to be. There's not a big enough pot of money.
It'll happen eventually. If it's not, I don't know if it'll be next. But
there's not a big enough pot of money in it for me to say that you can dish out 10 million here and 10 million there as step aside.
I don't know, Martin. I think I disagree, mate. I think there is a big enough pot of money, especially if it goes to Saudi. I think there is a big enough pot of money.
Do you reckon?
Without a doubt, mate.
You've got to understand that the sidekicks, putting whatever country hosts it, the money, the revenue will bring into that country, to that area, to that, and the kudos. There's a lot of money it brings, and it's not just the money you see going through the gate or the television. It brings a lot of money into whatever city.
I'm going to respectfully say it's probably kudos rather than money that might be the driving force.
Yeah, maybe. Look, if Randy Ruiz managed to squeeze another $4 or $5 million out of this fight, then I mean, look, how much bigger is Fury against Joshua than what Ruiz rematch were? It's what, and 3 or 4 times bigger. It's massive, isn't it? There's no bigger fight. So then, Martin, this is your last chance now. Get it on. Is there anything last you want to say to make the sport? Come on, you can say anything you want. What do you want to see to improve the sport apart from Duvet?
Yeah. Well, look, we've got an opportunity now because this whole COVID-19 situation has reset everybody. You know, everybody is now, they've got no fight lined up. They can have a permanent camp almost for the last 8 weeks and the next however long. You know, all the mandatories are going to have to be reevaluated in terms of where everybody is. It's the perfect opportunity for boxing to make the fights that there have been excuses not to see. So the likes of Teofimo Lopez, Devin Haney. I'd love to see that fight. I was in New York for Lopez versus Commey. I think he's a superstar in the making. You know, let him go against Haney or against Ryan Garcia or whoever. But what I don't want to see when boxing comes back is stay busy fights, get ready fights, warm-up fights. If that happens, and in my view, the sport is failing the fans and runs a risk of like not ending up in obscurity, but losing any momentum that was there before all of the lockdown kicked in and before all of the sports were cancelled. Because the Premier League isn't going to come back with Man United versus Scunthorpe. It comes back with a full fixture list knowing what we're going to get. Boxing needs to reciprocate that, for me.
God, he's going to be working for Matchroom.
He could have next office. Who could have next office mark to win? You could have full wallpaper up, Transformers wallpaper a lot.
Well, I can only bring my duvet. I can do late nights.
Right, well, we'll see how it all pans out, Martin. Thanks for jumping on.
It's a pleasure. Thank you very much. Pleasure to chat with you gentlemen as well.
Take care.
Take care.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, mate. Bye-bye.